our main competitors there, who already been there for a few years now, operating for a few years now. And I think that's because in Spain they have more need for drinking water than in France. They have more issues with water than in France. So maybe the circumstances make the regulatory more faster, move faster, or slower depending on the need of the market.
Thank you so much. Maybe Dr. Dennis.
Just to add a few perspectives. So I think I like the point about having product market fit. I think it's extremely important at the beginning that if you build a product that is scalable, right? So the question is it a problem that is just limited to your country, or is it a problem that is a worldwide problem that needs solving? And then are people willing to pay for this product? And I think once you, because if you find product market fit early, the rest is easy because it's the same problem that you're solving country by country. And then the rest becomes more, how do you tell your story? And like, I remember in Rwanda, we talking to a few people and they were, oh, I've heard about your product, you understand? So once you find that one is you're going, the key is to spend a lot of time to tell the stories because people would want to use these products in those countries based on the reviews and based on what others are saying. So if the product is in Tunisia, what are people in Tunisia saying about the product? And I think, but they always want to come back for that reference. So make sure it's a product that people want, and I think also make sure you tell your story, and then make sure it's all over and people can find it wherever they are. Yes, sure.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dennis. So maybe I want to go back to Lucy. I mean, they've spoken a bit more about their expansion plans, and I know yours might be a little trickier in order to like actually scale. So what are some of the mitigation factors that are actually mitigating some other markets from actually, hosting your technology, or going to find out more?
So the question is, what would stop a particular regulator, for example, from allowing us in? Well, so one thing that we've noticed actually across different markets is that fintech is becoming more and more nationalistic. It's becoming more of like, some people or some regulators see it more of like a national security type situation. So we know, for example, of players who are trying to do KYC in Egypt and they weren't necessarily successful in doing so. So that's one sort of resistance that we might find. And then the other one is that, of course, there is the need to protect, the current banking sector there, who's kind of currently providing a lot of the services that we're trying to do. And I think our strategy has been to, we're not seeking our own licenses, for example. What we're seeking is always to find the right set of partner institutions so that they can take care of the licensing. And on top of which we can, kind of build a set of APIs that we ourselves can consume and then distribute to the clients. So in a sense, by changing the model from B2C to B2B2C in a sense, and having other players, that's kind of how we're trying to appeal, to make sure that the regulators kind of see what we're trying to do with the best of intentions and with the right light. The other thing is, I think we've managed to establish really good relationships with the Tunisian regulator. So in a way, we are hoping for them to vouch for us, at least with regulators upon which they share some common frameworks, like other regulators in the Maghreb countries or other regulators in Francophone Africa, in which the relationship between the central banks is actually very, very tight, because they share. There's a lot of trade going on. There are many. They share the same partner. They share the same geopolitical space. So a lot of what we're doing is making sure that we pick the country A where there is the most need, B where there is the most access, and C where we have the right partner institutions that we can work with that are open to bring in what we the value that we add to their own respective markets. And of course they do that through a revenue sharing deal and so in a sense we have to make it profitable for them as well, not just profitable for us. So that makes the design a lot trickier, the design of the business model, kind of what each party or each stakeholder gets, it becomes a lot trickier. But it's what we found is that it's the right way to penetrate markets in which getting licenses becomes much more of a political task than it is a business task. I think by changing it more into, hey, we're helping people who are already established, already employing, We're helping them by providing both technology and distribution, but they keep the licenses. I think that has been our approach, and so far we are seeing early signs of that working, and hopefully if it works out really well, then we'll manage to scale. But of course, as any entrepreneur knows, you always need to be ready to kind of like get slapped in the face, and then just kind of turn the other cheek and figure out some other way to kind of enter. So I think the good thing is that we still have that energy going on, and therefore we're ready to change the strategy. But so far, at least when it comes to, for example, our immediate next step, which is working on the Tunisian diaspora in Europe, that seems to be working out pretty well.
Thank you so much. So to what seems kind instructions, I'm going to move over the panel into some Q&A. So I don't know if there's any questions from the audience for our amazing panelists. Any takers?
Jamal, thank you, Hamdali, thank you all. As you know, as every entrepreneur, we face daily many challenges. So could you just advise us how to evaluate these challenges and how to face them at the right way, and how to really scale your startup, especially in the, let's say, early stage?
No one from the people who started companies did not have a lot of struggles, I think, understand that. So probably there's no right or wrong method to do it, but one of the things I would recommend is to have advisors or people who are not involved in the company, but who you trust and who you know who have already been there before you, who have already started the business and who know the struggle, and just to talk with them every week on a regular basis so that you expose your issues, and just by talking with them, you might end up having a lot of advice from them, and that could help you.
Maybe just add one or two. One is you have to be very persistent. I mean, nobody will give you free lunch, so you have to keep knocking at the doors. And number two is to be as lean as possible. I mean, I know a lot of investors here and all that, but I think fundraising is becoming a bit hard to do. So I think you need to be a bit lean and bootstrap, and then put all your energy and resources at the beginning as much as possible, and then can get to a critical mass where even investors will come chasing you and all that. So I think be more persistent and aggressive at the beginning.
Yeah, I guess if there's one thing that I would add to that, is to actually make sure that you have the right support system. So a lot of the advice that they gave is really more about kind of how to figure out the solutions to your problems, but then problems get really, really, really hard, and then sometimes they compound, and sometimes they turn out to, like, you know, all of this. It turns more into like a psychological challenge, a psychological endurance challenge more so than anything. And therefore, having the right support system to which you can vent, to which you can talk to, I think that's actually something that's very, very important, so that you can actually have the right endurance to go on. Because if you end up isolating yourself and just thinking that this is, you know, it takes a village to raise a child. If you just think about it as, oh, you know, this is just going to be my thing, and then I'll just deal with it head on and so on. You can do it for a few months, but you're going to have to do it for a few years and maybe decades in some cases. And therefore, making sure that you're surrounded, you have the right support system is very important as an investment developer.